Yo, what up, a-holes? Thank you for tuning into the Holistic A-Hole podcast. My name is Eric Levi, and I'm the Holistic A-Hole, the mommy blogger with balls, the inconvenient truth of health, and a certified nutritional therapy practitioner. How the heck are you doing out there, everybody? Hope you're having a great day. I really mean that. It's a beautiful, almost springtime. I think Puxatawny Phil saw his shadow, maybe? And that means we're getting close to spring? Yeah? Is any of that right? I don't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff. How can you? There's real shit happening in the world. And you better believe that this a-hole's on top of it. And so today what we're going to talk about is everybody's favorite topic that I clearly win everybody over with. And that is politics. We're going to talk about politics because my good buddy, old Bernie Sanders, announced his official candidacy to run for the presidency in 2020. And personally, I could not be any more excited. And I genuinely mean that. And I'm going to tell you guys why here throughout the podcast. And I'm going to jump all over into that shit because I got a couple different ways, different things I'm going to bring up that I don't think people are talking about. And now you a-holes are going to be armed with this knowledge. But before I do get into all that, first of all, yo, what's up, a-holes? I just want to say thank you for all the love you've been showing. People have been sharing the podcast. People are leaving nice reviews online. If you haven't done this yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That is the number one I almost said AOC. Number one thing that you can do to support the podcast, just be a subscriber so that this thing pops up in your feed, and then you want to listen, you're doing stuff, you just want to just pop the a-hole in your earbuds, and you're like, but how do I find the a-hole? How in the world do I find the a-hole in this world with all of this modern technology and every ability I have to make that happen? Well, all you got to do is just hit the subscribe button right there on your phone or iPad or whatever you're listening to this on. It's so easy to do. They really make it so easy nowadays with this fancy-dancy technology. Just subscribe to the podcast, and when you love it, just go on over to iTunes, leave a 5-star review. I'm going to say it again. Go to iTunes, leave a 5-star review. Look, if you love the podcast, I know some of you love listening to the podcast. You show me a lot of love, but do me a favor. You want to show me a lot of love? Go on over to iTunes, leave a 5-star review on the podcast, share it with your friends, tell them to leave a 5-star review on the podcast, because here's what happens. When we leave enough 5-star reviews on the podcast, and iTunes and their, Russia-hacked intelligence, Google-driven, Apple, Chinese kid labor algorithm sees that enough a-holes are giving the podcast a lot of love in the old review section, what they do is they go, oh, well, this must be a good podcast. Well, we got to put it on the top iTunes. No, not the world. Amy, pass me the poker fly light, cause I'm hungry. That was I don't know why I did that. Oh, God, I need help. Oh, God, I need some ashwagandha. But you see what I'm saying? It's very important that you do this. Because all right, please do it. Please just leave a 5-star review. If I'm not making the objective crystal clear here, we're on a mission. You better believe it. We're going to change the goddamn health conversation in this country. And this podcast is going to be a great example why we got to do that. Also, before I jump into it, go on over to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Just follow the Holistic A-Hole on all the social media platforms and go to the YouTube and follow the Holistic A-Hole. You know I'm there. I love you long time. Oh, God. Where are we going with this thing? Just follow me on all the social mediums, Holistic A-Hole, across the board. You know how to get there. You're technology savvy. Let's do this, bitch. Let's talk about politics. Oh, boy. So, our good buddy Bernie Sanders, senator from Vermont, I believe he's an independent. He's running for the Democratic nomination to be the president of the United States of America. And so far, he's doing pretty good. It was questionable. Is he going to run again? And people were hoping that he would. There's still the Bernie bros out there that are, very disappointed in what happened a couple years ago. Everybody's disappointed in what happened no matter what side you're on. It's like you could be a Trump supporter and you're still pissed about what happened. You should be pissed about what happened 3 years ago, because they're trying to take the democratically elected presidency away from Trump. They're trying to say the Russians hacked the elections. The Democrats think the Russians hacked the elections. They fucking have come out with so many reports that say the Russians did not hack the elections, but yeah, this is still a conversation. But you know what did? You know who did hack the elections? The goddamn Democratic National Convention, the DNC. They took that right out of Bernie's hands because he was going to win that shit. We all know it. They thought Hillary had a good chance. She had no chance. What a slime ball that cunt is, right? She's such a fucking just disgusting person that in my apartment building, somebody just left her books on tape downstairs just for somebody to take the What Happened book or whatever that book was called, book on tape. I almost picked it up because I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of shit I got to read and studying I got to do and learning. I just don't have time to listen to Hillary Clinton tell me that she's a fat twat and couldn't fucking go to Wisconsin and Michigan because she's so full of herself and she's a goddamn war criminal. And so I didn't want to hear the excuses as to how Russia paid Google $4,000 for Google ads and $100,000. By the way, those Russian troll farms they say? They're saying oh, they were all No, dude. They were pro-Hillary for the most part. That's the part we don't hear about. Those women's marches, which is so funny. Those were fucking put on by the goddamn Russian trolls. How hilarious is that, right? Oh, but I'm supposed to believe whatever. Let's get back on track. So Bernie's running for the presidency, and people are excited, because people, for some reason, think that socialism is going to be the answer. I don't think people really understand what socialism is. I'll be honest, I don't really understand what it is. I've tried to look into it. I've tried to get down to it. I'm married to a person who lived in socialism, and it does not sound like a good time. It does not sound like a thing that is meant for this country. We, like it or not, we're a capitalist country. That's what we're founded on. That's what we're always going to be. And let me just say this too: when it comes to socialism, I think it's a fair idea. It's a fun little thing to run a little mental masturbation around. Jerk off your brain, get a little brain jizz going about how sweet it would be to have socialism and the thought that everybody's created equal. People, we are not created equal. I'm sorry. I hate to burst this bubble for you. We are absolutely not. This is the reality of life, okay? This is why Darwin figured out natural selection. This is why, he realized that some plants, some fruits, they grow on the vine and they're ripe for the picking and they got the good seeds and they taste nice and sweet. And then some of those fruits grow on the vine and they're just fucking just hot, retarded garbage, and then you have everything in between. And that's what people are. That's what people in this country are. Okay. And we're propping those people up as much as we can. There's a lot of people who are in a lot of unfortunate circumstances. I totally get that. There is a long history of institutionalized racism in this country. I totally get that. Okay. All right. But there is a thing called natural selection for a reason, because the people who survive, they pick themselves up and they do it. They figure it out, whatever your color is, whatever your religion is, whatever your ethnicity is, whatever your gender or sex or whatever it is. If you are going to succeed, you're going to succeed. That's just what it is. Okay. It doesn't matter. Literally the government could give you $1 million. And if you're just a degenerate, you're going to lose it. Look at the lottery. People have won tens of millions of dollars from the lottery, and they've lived their whole lives in trailer parks. and they win tens of millions of dollars and then they're broke 5 years later. That's a fucking degenerate. That's not somebody who's going to survive. If we just start pointing all of our tax dollars at people who just aren't capable of contributing to society, it doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't. Case in point, and it's this is why I really wanted to. I've been sitting on this podcast for a couple days, and I was like kind of banging around in my head. But then today, I went and did jury duty for the first time ever, and I was like, oh yeah, this is how we know. This is how we know that we're not all equal. Okay, like we show up to jury duty, and if you never, this was the first time I ever done jury duty, and God, I hope I never have to do it again. It is a fucking nightmare. You show up and it's like this is what it's like when you live in a socialist society. You show up and then they sit everybody in the same room. Doesn't matter who you are. You could be next to a billionaire, sitting next to a homeless person, as long as they're registered to vote, sitting next to a barista at Starbucks, whatever. Like we're all in that room. As far as the jury selection process goes, we're all equal except for our race and our gender, right? Because that's how they're mixing up. That's how they're deciding. Like they get 100 of us together, they put us in the room, and at that moment we're all equal, okay? And the cop, the CO, whatever you call them there, the bailiff, I don't know what they are. They're like cops. They got bulletproof vests on, guns. As far as I know, they're cops. And they give you the directions, and the directions, I mean, there's no fluff, there's no, gray area. It's just black and white. Like, you're going to sit here. Here's the directions. Write your name on the form. And these aren't complicated forms. Write your date of birth on the form. Write today's date on the form. Circle the little box that says Queens County. There's a column that says New York City counties. Color in the box that says Queens County, and then sit tight. And they had to go over this direction, I'm not joking, 15 times to 100 people, all presumed adults, all registered voters. They had to give this direction 15 times. Just think about that. Write your name, write your date of birth, write today's date, fill in Queens County. They had to say it 15 times. And people still weren't doing it right. People still weren't doing it right. Do you understand? Like, you're a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. We have to pay taxes for that person. Who just isn't, will they have a right to be, no. You have a fucking responsibility to keep up, dude. You have a responsibility to contribute and not to be a complete fucking retard. I hate to use language that's so, extreme. We're not allowed to use that word anymore, but I'm sorry, okay? There's like the straight line of the human race, right? Like we're all in the human race, and then there's little like retarded dents in there of people who just don't get it. Yeah, I'm not talking about like people with actual physical and mental disabilities. I'm talking about people who are fully capable, registered voters who need 15 times of being told the direction of the most simple fucking task, and they still can't get it right. Okay? This was jury duty. And this is what socialism is that the top of the pecking order and the bottom of the pecking order is now all equal. And what happens is the top of the pecking order, they are successful, they work hard. Granted, I get it. You have people who have circumstances that, they're trust fund babies. They get lucky, whatever it is, that's not your business. That's not your business, right? This obsession we have in this country of not allowing people to be successful because somehow we feel like they've cheated. Get over your goddamn selves, right? There are, for the most part, people with 7 figures in their in their bank accounts, 8 figures, 9 figures, 10 figures in the bank accounts, for the most part, they've probably earned that. And if they were born into it, then hey man, luck of the draw. Somebody in their family did something right. And if you had $1 million, you would probably treat your kids the same way. You would not send your kids off to fucking Spartan school. You wouldn't send your kid off to a fucking boot camp. You would be like, no, I'm gonna put money away for my kid, and my kid's gonna be a millionaire too. This is how life works, right? If your great grandpa didn't, run fucking booze in the 20s with, JFK's dad and then hoard that money aside, well, your dad missed out. He should have done that, right? Your dad should have started Walmart, in the 1960s or whenever. Your granddad didn't do that, okay? It's not my problem. It's not this is the way life is. So you are born with a certain hand of chips, a certain hand of cards, and you got to play that, okay? And it's really your responsibility to play that as best you can. It's not society's responsibility to help you play that the best you can. It's your responsibility. This is America, okay? There's countries in the world where they have rules that, they play by those rules, where they say, we're going to give everybody equal say and whatever. And you know what happens to those people? A lot of those people leave that country and they come to America because they just like it better here, because we have insane amounts of opportunity. We're the wealthiest country the world has ever seen. Say what you want about capitalism, and I'm going to say a lot about it here in a minute. It's definitely imperfect, but it's definitely the best system we have to allow anybody with a clean record, even if you have a tattered record, it's the most effective system we've ever thought of for a person to accumulate wealth. And really, as humans, that's who we are. We're all about wealth. We're all about accumulating resources. This is how people have evolved, okay? This is natural selection. The strongest people, the strongest animals, the strongest plants survive, right? And I'm not trying to be grim, and I'm not trying to say like we should kill off the people that aren't as good as the better. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is like we are giving a lot of carrots to unfortunate people, okay? And it's not a millionaire's fault that somebody else doesn't have money, okay? If they, like Jeff Bezos starts Amazon. Jeff Bezos started Amazon. I don't know the story of Amazon 100%, but it's something along the lines of the guy started it selling books online. I think he had another business before that. I think he was even selling the books out of his garage or something. And then, hey, he played the game right. I think the guy's a scumbag. I don't think very much of him, but dude, he's just smarter than you and me. You should have started a bookstore in 1995 when there were no websites. You could have done it. You could have gotten books.com. It was there. It was available. You could have had it, and you could have done it. You could have done it yourself, and then you could have built Amazon too. But you didn't. He did, right? And so he builds Amazon, and he builds factories where all of the stuff, the fulfillment needs to happen, where all the books and then now basically everything on the planet gets sold from, right? And he's built a whole, supply chain, just completely innovative, changed the game on how internet business is done, just how business is done in general. It's really mind-blowing, when you think about really how amazing Amazon is. And you could hate them, you could fucking love them. We all use it. We all have Prime. It's the greatest thing in the world. If I got to buy something, I'm going to Prime, right? I know I'm giving money to the Washington Post. I know I'm giving money to fake news. I get it. But it's fucking Prime. And you use it because there's no better option. And you know what'll happen at some point? Somebody will invent a better option. And that person has every opportunity. That person should. You should be innovating something better than Prime if it exists, right? So, and the thing is now there's a lot of jobs available, right? Amazon employs a lot of people. It's a very big company. And quite frankly, when you have to like deal with Amazon on like a customer service level or whatever, it can be the greatest experience in the world because it's like sometimes all you gotta do is just return the thing. Sometimes it can be a nightmare, I hear these stories about how factory workers are treated terribly. Well, guess what? They're getting paid 15, 18 bucks an hour. You don't have to work there. You don't have to work there. If you are at the level of where you're a factory worker at Amazon, like you're just a guy who stuffs boxes, and you're like, I hate my job. It's not fair how they treat us. Go get another job. I don't understand this mentality. I can't get another job. It's their responsibility. It's not their responsibility to pay you more. This is the market of jobs. You don't have to work there. You don't have to live in the place you'd want to live. This is America. This is the beauty of this country. If you live in Seattle and you work for Amazon, you're making 18 bucks an hour, and you're like, I'm treated terribly, whatever. Well, guess what? You can go you can move to Portland and go work for Nike or work for whoever. You can go start your own company. You can go work. You can go live in the goddamn mountains and not work. You could do whatever you want. That is the beauty of America. But you do it at your own risk. It's not Bezos' job to employ you. Now, if all the workers were like, fuck that, we want more wages, what do? They walk out and they strike. But they don't do that shit. They don't. You could. People, they do it all the time. The teachers did it in LA. Apparently now Mexican auto workers are doing it in Mexico. It's happened forever. You can do it. It's risky, but you can do it. Okay? I think I just got caught up on a real long tangent there. My point is that we're not all created equal. You have the Jeff Bezoses, you have the factory workers. And that's totally fine. That's the world we live in. As long as the opportunity is there to become Jeff Bezos or to become Bill Gates or to become, Steve Jobs or to become name your billionaire, whatever. As long as that opportunity is there, this is why people move to America. And sometimes people just move to America because they go, you know what? I want to go be a coder. I want to go I want to go work for a startup. And I want to make $70,000 a year. Guess what? You can do that. That's why people come here. They don't come here because we treat everybody equally. Because a long time ago, the founders, the Industrial Revolution, I don't know when exactly this happened, but we just realized that we're not equal. And it's not that we realize that we're not equal. We just realize, look, there's opportunity here inherent in our rights given to us by the Constitution that you can just be whatever you want to be. Okay? Yes, I get it. There was slavery, right? There was civil rights. There were, obviously, if you're a black person in this country, your history is very unequal to white people in this country. There's absolutely no doubt about that. If you are Hispanic in this country, your opportunities have been, if you're an immigrant of any way, but let's also put it the other way. We're all immigrants, okay? My great-great-grandfather came here when in the early 1900s. They didn't just give him a fucking job. He was he had to create his own opportunity in New York. And it's not like a time where they just welcomed fucking Jews from Belarus into New York. They didn't just welcome Jews from Eastern Europe into New York. It was a struggle, just like the Irish struggled when they get here, just like the Italians struggled when they got here. Every ethnic group has struggled in America at some point, okay? So the world that we live in today is only here because of hundreds of years of struggling from each and every single ethnic group that's come here in some way. And no doubt some have had it worse, okay? But we're at a point now where that history has been completely forgotten. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to do this thing that we're like, oh, we're all equal. But we know we're not all equal. In order to make everybody equal, you have to completely disrupt the order of how things work in this country. And it's not feasible and it's not right. Okay? So someone like Bernie Sanders comes along and he's like, everybody needs to be equal. Millionaires and billionaires need to pay their fair share. They need to subsidize the 99%. We need to take the money from the 1%, give it to the 99%. And this whole thing of the 1% and the 99%, do you understand what the 1% is? The 1% is not who you think they are, right? The 1%, I think the cutoff point is have you made is it a couple $100,000 or something? That's not a lot of money. Okay? In this country, now I know things are different now because of the Trump tax codes, and I'm not an accountant, and it's too early in the tax. Like, people are like slamming the Trump tax cuts already. Like, the first week of February, it's like, I didn't get all the tax. Well, no, dude, you got a huge standard deduction, right? You got a tremendous standard deduction. Yeah, if you're an entertainer, you can't. People cannot write off all the things they could write off because you got an enormous standard deduct. We all got a huge standard deduction on our taxes. It's going to affect us all differently, and it might not be right. It might not be perfect, and it might not be good. And you know what? Here's what's going to happen. If the Trump tax cuts, why am I even into this right now? But I'll just do this real quick. If the Trump tax cuts result in millionaires and billionaires paying more money, well, guess what's going to happen? Millionaires and billionaires, they're going to leave the country. They're going to take their money out. And that's not what Trump is trying to do. I'm sure shit will get fixed. Either way, this is not me trying to defend Trump. This is like a general kind of like tax thing, right? So where am I going with this? So what Bernie wants is he wants us to all believe that we can have free healthcare, free college education. What's the other one? Free something else, right? Everything's free. Like the guy's campaign poster looks like a used car sales lot. No interest financing on healthcare for the first 4 years I'm in office, unless you're a millionaire or a billionaire. No interest financing on this new waterbed. That's what Bernie's campaign is. It's a disgusting President's Day fucking mattress sale. That's what it is. And so he's got this idea of free healthcare. And you hear AOC, we're going to have free healthcare. We're going to have free healthcare. Everyone's going to have free healthcare. We should be having free healthcare. And they think that this idea of free healthcare can really happen in this country. Okay. Now I'm gonna play both sides of this coin. Okay. I'm gonna tell you why I like the idea of a Medicare for all. I'll tell you why I like it. It has taken me a long time and a lot of reading to come to these conclusions, but I'll tell you why I like it. I like it because what's happened to healthcare in this country is it's been taken over by the corporate pharmaceutical industries, right? So the mistake that people make is they say, well, it's because of capitalism that's happened. No, it's because of political corruption. That's why it's happened. It's because the politicians got in bed with the pharmaceutical and the medical equipment companies and basically gave them, carte blanche to just do whatever the hell they want to do. They basically figured out a way to make a pipeline of tax dollars go straight to the pharmaceutical company's bottom line. This was, I think the first big one was the Bush. This was a Donald Bush. This was a George Bush. I forget the name of the law of the bill. I think it was like 2003. Some kind of like pharma, Medicare pharma bill, where they basically said like we're gonna make drug prices cheaper by having Medicare pay for more of it. And so what the pharmaceutical companies did is they said, okay, well, we'll just raise the prices of medication. If Medicare is going to pay for it, we'll raise the price of medication. I worked for a medical equipment company. I saw this happen firsthand. When Medicare Part D, which is who we build, covered people's CPAP masks, oxygen tanks, crutches, all that shit, we just raised the prices on it. I watched a tank of oxygen go from $375 a month to $575 a month within a couple years for no reason, and Medicare would cover the whole thing. This is what the pharmaceutical companies are doing. Between that and the patent laws, which is basically like, drugs are putting patents on fucking chemicals. They say we own that chemical. If Prilosec, the stomach acid drug comes out, they're going to say, not only do we have the patent on Prilosec, we got the patent on the chemicals that make up Prilosec, and then nobody can make a Prilosec-like drug. And that's the whole thing with the generic drugs too. Even, that's why people were illegally getting them from Canada. And then so we had to we had to start, tariffing Canada and all these things because they're trying to disrupt our nice, perfect monopoly, drug system. So, this is how the drug companies are able to charge ridiculous prices, and it's all covered through Medicare. And then when the patent runs out, the drug company gets a study written that basically says, well, we got a new drug that comes out, and this drug is 3 times as good as the old drug. And they do these really fucked up tests. I talked about it 2 podcasts ago, where they'll take like 2 pills of the new drug and they'll compare it to 1 pill of the old drug, and then they'll say, see, this drug is 2 times as good as the old drug. And really, it's the same exact fucking drug. There might be just like a molecule changed. And in fact, the new drug might be more dangerous and less effective than the old drug. And they'll put a patent on that. And then now the old drug, they sell it over the counter for nothing, but people don't want that. They want the new drug, especially if their Medicare is going to cover it. So this is not capitalism. This is corporate political corruption that has been legalized through, billions of dollars of lobbying money. Okay? So in the sense that Medicare for all is a good thing, because if we do that, then yeah, in theory, what we'll do is we'll start to slowly, you would hope, put that shit out of business, right? If we say that, look, government's going to cover all of that, the stipulation has to be, well, now those pharmaceutical companies, okay, well, here's the question. Do we nationalize all the pharmaceutical companies? Does SmithGlaxoKline or GlaxoSmithKline or whatever the hell the name is get nationalized? Does Merck get nationalized? Does oh God, who's that motherfucker? Whoever, right? Name your big pharma company. Do they become nationalized? Because I could see that becoming a pretty big issue, especially with shareholders, especially with people whose retirement funds are locked up in pharma companies. I'm not defending the pharma companies. Boy, I'm the last person to ever defend a pharma company. But what I'm saying is, man, there is a whole cascade of complicated bullshit that would have to happen. And it's going to, uproot a lot of shit and cause a lot of disturbances. So what happens to people's retirement accounts? Do they just tank? Does the retirement account become nationalized? So I tried to defend Medicare for all. I just can't. So that's that's the pharma part. Let's talk about the fact of what happens when you just give now 300 million people free access to unlimited amounts of healthcare. What happens? What do we do? Because this is a country, and if you notice, everybody's fucking sick. Everybody's sick. Everybody has diabetes or cancer or heart disease or autoimmune disease. Most women have thyroid dysfunction, skin issues. People are infertile. People are getting the flu. People have food allergies. What happens? Now everybody needs to go see the doctor. And I get it, man. If we give Medicare for all, and there's a lot of people who unfortunately are stuck because they can't go see the doctor, and a lot of people have health issues. There's a very high, mortality rate of people who just are dying because they can't go see a doctor, which is very sad. If you get hit by if you get in an accident, I've heard stories of people running to people who have just been in an accident, and they don't go, are you okay? They go, do you have health insurance? Who is your primary care doctor? Right? Because again, now the insurance companies are tied up in this motherfucker. And it's you can't put someone in a goddamn ambulance and bring them to a hospital that's not in their network, because if you do that, their hospital bills are not covered, and they're 8 times higher than they would have been if they would have just went to the right hospital. It's very complicated. And so Medicare for all or single payer or whatever would eliminate that, right? But what happens when that person who gets hit by a car gets taken to the emergency room and they got to wait 5 days to see the doctor because the emergency room is already filled with people who are also in there now, who also now have health insurance, and they're not in there for like getting hit by a car. They're in there because, you know, they got the cold sweats at night. They got the shaky leg syndrome. They're feeling a little depressed. They're feeling a little sad. They're feeling a little anxious. They got seasonal affective disorder. They got social anxiety disorder. So they're in the emergency room now because they don't feel right. Or they're in the doctor's office and somebody, there's a little baby who's got the who's got the flu, and then there's a guy in there because he has nightmares at night, or like he just feels sad. He's diagnosed himself as depressed. He's having suicidal thoughts or whatever. But there's a baby in the waiting room now. Can't go into the doctor because, or a little boy, a little kid, a little girl, whatever, a little boy girl, a little girl boy, a little something, or a person or a parent or whoever, right? Because in socialism we're all equal. There's no hierarchy. Who gets to see the doctor? Well, put your name on the pad. You're gonna have to wait. Because where are all the doctors gonna come from? This is my question. When we open it up and give all this extra health insurance to people, yeah, millions of more people are going to have health insurance. Great. Where are all the extra doctors going to come from? This is my question. This is like an honest question. This is like something that I hope Trump, when he debates Bernie, because there's no doubt that Bernie's going to win the nomination. Good luck, Democrats, if you give that fucking nomination to Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or any of those other weirdos. I've heard this, what's her name? Gabbard? Tulsi Gabbard. I hear she's got some good ideas. And then that dude who was on Joe Rogan, Yang, whatever his name is it something Yang? Brian Yang? Andrew Yang? Asian guy who wants to do universal income. Still not sure if I'm on board with that, but he definitely made a case to kind of put me a little bit somewhat on board with it. I think he's probably the smartest, most well-spoken of them all. But either way, Bernie's undoubtedly going to win the Democratic nomination. And I hope Trump looks at him. And Trump will win this debate every time. When he goes, okay, Bernie, where are you going to get all the extra doctors from? Because if you go to a doctor's office right now, chances are he's already got a full fucking load of people. Or she. Or he, or she, or whatever it is. Oh, man. Could you imagine anybody have a trans doctor? Is that weird? That would be so weird. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be, it's not hateful. It's just honest. If I had a transgender doctor, that would probably make me very uncomfortable. Either way, you go to the doctor, they're already packed. And do you know how the medical system works in this country? Those doctors have 10 to 15 minutes with you. I've heard it's lower. It's about 10 minutes. I know when I was a standardized patient, to pass somebody to become a doctor, it was 15 minutes per visit. 15 minutes a doctor has to figure out everything wrong with you. Everything wrong. They don't take into account all the stuff I take into when I talk to somebody. I fucking sit there on my appointments for like an hour and a half, just getting down into the nitty gritty of what's going on in somebody's life. Because I know if you present flu, I'm not thinking flu. I'm trying to figure out your adrenals. I'm trying to figure out your digestion. I'm trying to figure out your thyroid. I'm trying to figure out, your fatty acids, your muscles. I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to figure out your liver. I'm trying to figure out your small intestine, your large intestine, right? Because all that shit plays into it. You understand? This is how the body works. It's all connected. I'm trying to figure out your diet. I want to know what you've been eating, right? But doctors don't have that. They don't have that time. They have 15 minutes to figure it out. And you know what they do? They give you a magic pill. They give you the magic pill, and this is what makes people feel better. Because you have to leave the doctor's office in the American medical system with a solution. This is what allopathic medicine is. This is what the whole system's built off of. Magic pills and solutions. When's the last time you went to the doctor and you left and they didn't give you a magic pill or something? If you leave the doctor's office and the doctor's like, well, just drink more water, get more rest, you're going to be very pissed off. Most people will be. Maybe you a-holes might not because you understand this shit. But the average Joe Schmo, Joe Six Pack, Josephina Six Pack, they don't think like that. They're like, I want the magic pill. In fact, one of the biggest problems with the pharmaceuticals is the direct-to-consumer advertising, where people like watch the commercial, where it's like, I took Prilosec and then I could go back to living the life that I knew that I loved living. And they're playing basketball with their friends, and you don't know what Prilosec is, but you love that. You love that marketing because it's all done with heuristics and psychology, and they know how to market it to you and make it look great. Even though they just scroll through for 80% of the commercial and tell you all the ways that it's going to make you shit your pants and give you nightmares and suicidal thoughts, you still go to your doctor and you're like, I want some of that Prilosec, because you're a fucking monkey. You're a monkey watching this shit, and you just react, and you want the thing you saw on TV because you want to go play basketball with your friends. You don't care if you're gonna shit your pants. You don't care if you're gonna have suicidal thoughts. You want to play basketball with your friends, so you go get the pill. People ask their doctors for the pill because they see it on TV, right? And the doctor has to give them the pill. Doctor's not like, drink more water, take a nap. Doctor's like, oh, you want the pill? You really should just drink more water. No, man, give me the pill. I love that commercial for the pill. So this is like, this is, so my point is that we could have all the free healthcare we want. Like, they could do that right now and give us single payer. And here's what happens. People aren't going to be healthier. More medical care doesn't equal healthier people. We are the number one, by far, spending country on healthcare. And it's not even close, yo. It's not even close. Trillions every year, dude. Trillions. And we're at the bottom of developed countries. Like, there's better hospitals in fucking Thailand than there are here in America. I put this on Facebook the other day. They give fucking diabetics in the hospital ice cream and Jell-O. Isn't that some bullshit? Diabetics. This is American. This is the American medical system. This is what you want more of. And believe me, that's not going away when socialism comes here. Because I'm convinced Medicare for all is going to happen. Like, I believe it's going to happen. I believe this country is in such a nosedive right now that it's going to happen, because you have half the country that's already on board with it, right? Maybe a little bit less, but you have the schools are filled with professors that are just filling kids' heads with this propaganda. The voters who didn't come out and vote for Hillary will come out and vote for Bernie. There was a lot of people who defected from Bernie to Trump. They might go back and vote for Bernie. So I would not be surprised if Bernie won 2020. And all that shit that he's talking about is going to come here, and that fucking socialized medicine might be here. And people are going to be very excited about it. And I'm going to sit back with my holistic popcorn with some grass-fed butter and some good sea salt sprinkled on top of it. I might even throw some rosemary. Fuck it, why not? I'm going to throw some rosemary on that popcorn. I'm going to really live it up. I'm going to sit outside the doctor's office, and I'm just going to watch just the fireworks go off. Watch people limp in there with all their Hashimoto's and their, skin issues and their eczema and their autoimmune diseases and their type 2 diabetes and their just obese fat kids and cancer and peanut allergies. I'm going to sit back and watch people just freak the fuck out when their dream medical system just turns into an absolute nightmare. And I think this is my prediction. I said this on the other podcast, but I think this was going to happen. The whole healthcare system is going to completely change. And there won't be doctors anymore. It's going to be AI. It's going to be robots. They've already got robots doing surgery. And from what I understand, the robots are actually much better than the actual doctors. That's fine. I can get on board with that shit. When you really understand the fact that, like, the fourth leading cause of death in this country is iatrogenic death, people die in the care of doctors. Give me a robot. Robots fly airplanes. They're going to drive trucks across the country. Whatever. Give me the surgery with the robot. If the robot hits it 99% of the time, let's do it. Better than a doctor who hits it 75% of the time, who might even be really sleep deprived. As far as I know, robots don't get sleep deprived, but the sex robots do. You better believe the sex robots are getting sleep deprived because they're just fucking all night long. So you're gonna go to your doctor. You're gonna walk in, and it's not gonna be a doctor. It's gonna be a kiosk, right? You probably just take a number for you probably have an appointment at the kiosk, and it'll work like clockwork. You know what I mean? You go up to it. You put in your information, probably have a card, probably put your hand in a little glove or something. It'll probably scan your body. It'll tell you exactly what's wrong with you, and then it's going to pop out a slip, and then that slip's going to be a prescription for a magic pill. You're going to go out of the kiosk, and then you're going to go to a counter. You're going to give the pharmacist the slip, and she's going to fill your magic pill, and that's what healthcare is going to be. People are just going to be filled with magic pills from nationalized fucking pharmaceutical companies, apparently. And if you're a nationalized pharmaceutical company, do you have any incentive to make a pill that actually works? I mean, they don't already while they're making, insane record profits. Do you think they're going to have any incentive to make a pill that actually works? This is a country, like, we admire fucking rappers who make it rain. We admire actors who walk the red carpet. We're a fucking, shiny object syndrome culture. So when we start taking away the ability for people to make more money, like, what is going to be the incentive to do any kind of quality work in anything, including healthcare? Like, this is my fear with socialism. When you start taking the one thing that we all can agree that America is, the shiny object syndrome, that we just want the Ferrari. I don't care who you are. We're all materialists. All the people I see that are just such loudmouth fucking idiots on social media talking about they support Bernie and socialism, yet they can't get enough of the fucking Hollywood gossip and wearing the latest trendy clothes and having, the new fucking gadget and having the newest iPhone and the newest. Where do you think that stuff's going to go? Do you think we're still going to make that stuff? Like, what planet do you live on? What planet do you live on that you think we're just going to still make good quality stuff when there's no financial incentive to do it? Do you think the lazy fucks, the people who could not write their name on the paper in the jury duty room after the 15th announcement, are going to now somehow contribute to making quality shit in this country? Like, you have to be realistic with this stuff. You have to, really, sit down and do, a little, cost-benefit analysis. And be objective. Like, you gotta understand that that's not what's gonna happen. If we're all equal, then we're all eating fucking garbage. There's gonna be bread lines. There's gonna be poverty, and there's still gonna be corruption. Because just because we're all equal doesn't mean that people won't have money. Not in our economy, not with our inflation, not with our, with our Fed, who just prints money and retracts money. Like, what happens to these people? What's going to happen to the millionaires and billionaires? Where's all the tax money, by the way, going to come from to pay for all this? We're going to tax the millionaires and the billionaires. Oh, are we? Because I have a good feeling, just a hunch, that if we do enact some kind of 70% marginal tax rate on millionaires and billionaires, you better believe that money will be leaving this country so fucking fast. It's going to go wherever that money's wanted. And believe me, there's a lot of countries that are going to open their goddamn gates to that money. You better believe it. In Europe, in Asia, Australia, wherever, man. South America, wherever. Those millionaires and billionaires, they're not going to be here, dude. They're not going to be here. It's going to be the middle class, dude. It's going to be the middle, whatever's left of the middle class. New York City's already suffering. I live here, okay? This is one of the highest taxed fucking places in the country. And the governor goes on the radio and he's pissed at Trump because he accuses Trump of being the reason why so many millionaires and billionaires are taking their money out of New York. No, man. It's because you have the highest taxes, a completely unfair tax rate. Yeah, I get it. There's people here that are filthy rich, and you feel that they should pay more money than the poor people. Maybe in some respects, I can get with that. But that's not what reality presents. That's not what the market presents. They don't want to be here anymore. They're leaving. They take their money to Florida. They take their money to Texas. They take their money to fucking Colorado. They take their money where the money's wanted. Or where the money, like where they say, we're not going to tax you. You can just live here and just buy shit. And that's what people do. Does it work all the time? I don't know. I'm not a tax accountant, but I do know that the city has a major tax shortfall. Oh, an even bigger tax shortfall now that Amazon's not coming here. Why? Because we have the socialists, they said that Amazon's evil and that we don't want their money. We don't want their tax revenue. We're not going to give them $3 billion. Well, we didn't give them $3 billion. We would have given them $3 billion once they gave us $20+ billion in taxes. But we have geniuses. We have geniuses that don't understand taxes and tax rates and things like that. And they're going to be in charge. So, yeah. I hope the magical world of Bernie socialism, I hope it comes true and you all could see why this is not a good idea. I can't wait for it. I can't wait. I'm probably not going to live in this country if that happens. I just won't, I'm not going to support a country that doesn't support, my dream of becoming a millionaire, because I want to be a millionaire. Oh, you better believe I want to be a millionaire. Why wouldn't I? Why would I not? Nothing pumps me up more than waking up every day as an American born and bred citizen, knowing that I have opportunity, I have potential, and only I can fuck that up. This is the beauty of being an American. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I bet that I'm gonna bend and down for the man that's for me. And I gladly stand up next to you, 'cause I know I wanna buy a truck. I'm gonna drink a beer and I'm gonna punch it out. I love the USA. Thank you all for listening to the Holistic A-Hole podcast. This was a fun one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you maybe got a little chafe in your panties there. I know that these politics ones, they get a little crazy. But I love them, man. This is what we do. We gotta rock the goddamn boat. I hope you understand where I'm coming from with this stuff. I don't want babies to die. I don't want babies getting cancer. I don't want, people starving in the streets. I want you a-holes to empower yourselves and to know that really, it all starts with health. It all starts with health. Healthy body, healthy mind. You got a healthy mind, dude. You can accomplish anything. And I hope you do. I hope you understand that when it comes to healthcare should be your last resort. You should be doing your own healthcare. That's what we do this for. And if you really want to cripple the pharmaceutical companies, if you want to cripple those motherfuckers, that's what I want. That's my objective in this whole thing, is to take those bitches down. Take them down hard. But guess what? The only way we're going to do that is if we are strong in our body. If we're not little bitches going to the doctor because we got the sniffles. If we conquer our eczema. If we conquer our Hashimoto's. We don't have to keep giving money to the pharmaceutical companies. This is why I'm doing this. This is what I want to empower you a-holes with. And this is what I want you a-holes to go out and empower your friends and family with. Do everything you can to learn about this shit. I'll point you in every direction I can to get this information. We're not going to tax ourselves out of the national debt. We're not going to tax ourselves into a better life. We're going to empower ourselves through fucking holistic health. So I hope you all got that message. I hope you go to iTunes, leave a 5-star review. I hope you share this podcast with your friends, your family, anybody you love. And I hope that you keep supporting in any way you can. I got some real interesting content coming out here in the next couple months, man. I'm so excited for you guys to hear it. I'm working on some real good stuff with some real cool people right now. So keep listening, everybody. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. I appreciate your earbuds, and I will talk to you later. Peace.